Hello and welcome to the Blossoming Unity podcast. We are Dennis and Nicole, and we are here to introduce you into the conversation about different spiritual perceptions, techniques, and methodologies in order for you to have inspiration for your day-to-day life. Hello, Nicole.
Hi, Dennis. How are you today?
Good. I was a little exhausted from the Venus going direct. I could feel it.
Look at my face. My face is screaming exhaustion. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. It was a hard 6 weeks. I'm a Taurian. I'm Taurus by my sun's sign is Taurus. So
Mm.
my physical body was like being dragged through those 6 weeks of wind. Thank God it's only every 18 months. Imagine having that like a Mercury retrograde every 3 months.
You
I would.
know, I will say this though, there was so much benefits from it. There
Yes,
was so much benefits from it.
I agree. What healing did you like? What healing did you have in those weeks? Like, or what like insights could you gain?
It was more of the not taking shit so seriously. Like we've all noticed for a bit now, for I'd say past 4 weeks to a month and a half. One of the tarot readings I've been doing is celebrate, have fun, play, stop taking shit so seriously. And it's really about that because within the relationships and the dynamics with the Venus being in retrograde, it showed the aspects where I would take particular things serious in relationships. And it was a reflection and recognizing and going within and being like, why did I take things so seriously when they really didn't need to be? And the understanding of fear in relationships. And that's not only intimate relationships, but fear with friendships and family members. It was, well, fear only exists of something that could happen or maybe happen. So it was really being able to push back and being like, you know what? All those things that I may have felt fear in those relationships and those dynamics was really something that never really truly existed. So what the hell am I fearing for? And it really took off this blanket that was just kind of surrounding me in that area. So then I was able to put things in a perspective really and being like, yeah, just have fun and stop taking shit so serious. Because when you take shit serious, you get serious results.
Yeah, that's true.
What about you? What healing happened for you?
A lot on many different types of levels. Um, I had I was physically very exhausted. My physical body, my sleep pattern changed completely. I
Mm.
used to go to bed at around 9:30, and I slept like this. Like I just laid in bed and like out, and then I got up like at 5 in the morning and did my practice. I could not do that anymore. I did my practice whenever I found a window.
Mm.
So that was completely out of balance and still is. Like last night I couldn't sleep until like 1:30. Like there is a certain kind of vibration going on within me that not doesn't allow me to sleep, so I'm just working at night at the moment a lot. And so that was the physical part, and then I went through a very deep dive in how to, like, how is the perception of building a relationship in society. Because what I realized was when I am going into a love relationship, my nervous system is in a constant alarm mode.
Mm.
My nervous system is like, oh my God, oh, no, 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 go away, go away, go away. But on the other hand, the addiction that I had wanting to have a relationship, like wanting to go in a relationship, was over the years very, very high. I was very addicted to the idea of a relationship. So I went deeply into those patterns. Like I'm a nerd. I'm like, I probably, if they would test me today, they would come with the result that I'm autistic in some type, shape, way, or form. Because I have things that I'm very intelligent, like I have a very high IQ and a very high EQ as well, but I'm I don't understand why humans do certain things. Like the more I know, the less I understand. I understand from a therapeutic point of view, you know, but because I learned to understand. I had to learn to understand why people did what they did. For example, I never understood the dating game. I still don't understand it until today. I don't understand why people are doing those things. So I did a deep dive. I read a lot of love novels to see what was the narrative, and I watched love movies to analyze the narrative that was broadcasted out into the collective field. Does that make sense? Is that too
Mm.
woo again? Yeah. And I have to, in order for me to understand things and to find my own position in things, I have to analyze it. That's my way of understanding the world. That's why I'm always explaining things, because I have to explain them to myself. It's my way of understanding life. Like if some teacher came and would just say, um, you just have to do 5 minutes of this a day, do that and you will be happy. I wouldn't do it. That's my way. I want to understand why should I do it. It's my way of perceiving reality, of
Mm.
understanding the human life, right? That's why I
Let me
read.
ask you a question about that. Do you
Yeah.
think because you do that, you actually take away the experience of being able to experience something new because you already have an intellectual understanding of what you're supposed to experience, therefore hindering your growth and being able to truly experience it?
No, that was the case when I was younger, for sure.
Mm.
Like in my 20s, I would say that was totally the case. I overanalyzed things for a very long time because I couldn't deal with the emotion because I had so much trauma in my
Mm.
physical body. And it's it's really interesting. I learned healing. Like I learned my job because I needed to heal my own physical body. So the doctors, when I had cancer when I was little, I had chemotherapy, radiation therapy. Then I had a back operation where I died during the operation. Instead of going out on the crown chakra, I went out in a completely different chakra, which you shouldn't go out. It's not smart to do. Then I came back and the doctors told me, yeah, you won't be able to move your body when you're 30. Like we will have fixed every vertebrae because they're melting together and you will have problems and da 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 da. And I was like, no way in hell this will be the case. Like I was in pain. You have to understand, I was in pain from when I was 12 every day until I was like 35 or 34 maybe. With
Mm.
34, I had the first couple of days where I had no pain. I was on painkillers and inflammation medication and morphine drops when it was really, really bad for years. Like I suffered so deeply. And so, but I always knew, like I had this idea, and that's very Taurian, by the way. I had this idea that this is not what I'm agreeing to live on. Like, it's simply not. I won't let that happen. There must be a way of changing the narrative of the timeline. And I didn't know it was a timeline. I just said, no, I will not end up in a wheelchair. No, I will not give up. No, I do not agree having pain every day. I just didn't want to. And I just, like, my mental projection was so strong that I could heal. And so, yeah, in that time, I overanalyzed everything because I couldn't feel it because the trauma was still held in the body.
So do you see that over analyzing, touching anything in any areas? Do you think when you started going through and reading these novels, the love novels and all of that, that was able to actually, you were analyzing it to try and understand it, but you were still allowing yourself enough space to allow yourself to experience it. So you were able to learn not to overanalyze everything.
Well, I think during the time I analyzed it, there was nobody to experience it close. So no. But and it's probably also not the time. Whenever I know in the meantime how my cycles work. Like every human has certain cycles, right? Like
Mm,
we as
yeah.
women have the menstrual cycle, and the moon, we're bound to the moon, but also men have cycle. It's just way longer cycles. We have a monthly cycle where a man has a yearly cycle. We do every month was a man just in a year, from a cycle point of view. So no, in those cycles that I'm doing those analysis, sorry, and the deep dives into topics, I do not experience the topic at the same time in the outside world.
Mm,
It's like then I'm completely like going within and trying to figure out how this matrix works. This is basically what I need to do. I just I don't understand how it works. Like I don't understand, like for me, for example, I don't understand why people are staying in relationships when the price they're paying, the personal price, is their own freedom, like their own free, like I really don't understand it. But I do understand it because I'm a therapist, so I learned, okay, this is karmic and that's why people do that, and this is because they have this certain goal, and this goal is more important than their own free will, which I cannot never understand. I never will.
mm,
It's just I but so for me, I have to learn why people, like what is the, in order to understand why people act a certain way, I have to understand what's the general narrative in the collective, right? what's the what's the thought patterns, what's the collect, what did the collective agree on? What's the role of a woman of the collective? What does the collective agree on the role of a woman? What's the role of a man? Why did everybody agree on those roles? Are those roles true for me? What are they true, or are they just am I just used to that? Am I used to that, or is my body used to that? Like there are 1 million questions that I ask myself in those deep dives, right?
mm.
And then I'm having all this data, and then all of a sudden the certain kind of patterns are then like coming out of the data hub that I'm having. And then yeah, I know it's strange how I know. You're laughing. This is how I function. I'm a nerd. I really I try to understand the human incarnation and what it does. Like, why do we have this body? Like, why?
Mm.
What is it for? And that's why I'm so like, when we have talks, I'm so like technical,
Yeah.
because I studied the shit. Like I studied this shit for 25 years now. I'm turning 40 this year, and I study those things. I'm a nerd. I'm like nobody would be surprised that like when a tech nerd is like studying IT stuff. I don't know how to call that, like IT stuff. Then nobody's like, oh, he's such a nerd. I just studied human being. Like this is my study. I'm a professor in that. Like I have knowledge that I attain knowledge since 25 years from myself, and also from the experience, the teachings now, the teachings of the big teachers and of the big religions and all of that. I just started studying like 4 or 5 years ago. Like I just started like getting the knowledge in so I could start to explain things,
Mm.
because I experienced so many healers and I was in so many therapy sessions where I asked, yeah, but why are you doing that? And I couldn't explain. And as I was like, I never want to be a therapist like that. Like, I want to create clients, like my clients, when they work with me, I teach them my techniques so they can have my techniques at home and do what I do each day. I teach them the thing. Like, how do you transform how do you work with this body mind system? That's what I teach. And then after a time, I don't want to see them anymore. I'm like, you're good to go. You know everything I know from a technical point of view. Now go and do. Like choose. And some of them are doing it, and then they're getting like amazing results. And some of them call like 4 weeks later and then like, can I have another appointment? And I'm like, yeah, sure. Said I need more help. For
Just keeping it
example,
going. Just
yeah,
keeping it going.
yeah. I don't want to have people that are like addicted to my knowledge, to my healing, to I want them to be self-sovereign humans. That's the whole notion of this incarnation. Like, be sovereign. It's cool to be cool and know what you do.
Mm-hmm. It's really important to have fun while you're doing it.
Yeah. The problem is, as a nerd, when you're a nerd, you love doing those things. I love that. I love having those deep dives and then understanding things better. Like, that's all I'm doing. I'm trying to understand better.
Yeah.
And that's fun for me. And I know it's fucked up because that the collective doesn't agree on that.
Well, it's we as a collective species, just it's easier for you to point out what's wrong with someone else than look at your own shit.
Yeah.
So I really wanted to figure this thing out.
Yeah. I agree. I fully agree.
I wanted a first person experience. Well, why the hell is this going on over and over again? Once you start recognizing the patterns, then it's like, okay, let's go.
Yeah.
Now it's time to understand truly from an experiential point. And there's some things that I don't understand conceptually. Like there's no conceptual understanding because if I try to conceptually understand it, I understand that there's a unlimited way of trying to understand something. One thing, you can understand it in unlimited ways. This mind is that powerful.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm not going to drive myself mad and overanalyze. And then it just really became experiential for me. And that was the biggest thing. And I understand some people just need to overanalyze and intellectually understand, and they have their own system and how they interpret the world.
Yes. And I think there are different, there are different kinds of teachers as well.
Oh yeah, there needs to be.
Or
There needs to be.
completely different teacher than I am.
Mm-hmm.
But the cool thing about the Aquarian age is that the two of us, we disagree sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And then, but our intelligence, our quality of mind is open enough and is intelligent enough to say, who cares? I still
Mm-hmm.
like you. I still like, it's this. Why would we always need to have consents? It's not necessary. Like also
Mm-hmm.
families. Why would you always need consent? You don't. You have your opinion. The other person has his opinion. That's what it is.
Absolutely.
That's fine. And
And
it,
the benefit of your growth with having people surrounded you that don't agree with you.
yes,
Because when you're able to come together and you disagree on something, then you're able to, if you can't meet middle ground, one, there's the respect there of, okay, you have your opinion, and somehow those opinions can come together in a puzzle piece to build something new or
yes,
something more expansive.
absolutely. My dad is really funny. I was last Sunday, always Sunday nights, I go to family dinner. We're Italian rooted family, so we're having Sunday dinners and the whole family comes. But last Sunday, nobody came. My sister and her husband and the kids were not there. My brother and his fiance were not there, but I was there. But my parents didn't know that I would come, so they already ate. They already had that dinner. So I came there and I was waiting. I was cooking some pasta and I was waiting until the pasta was finished. And my mom and my dad were there. And so my dad said like, oh, next week we have the Olympics. And I said, oh, cool. What kind of Olympics? And he looked at me and he was like, I think it's Peking, but I'm not sure. Probably Peking. And he said, are you still living on this planet? Like, what are you doing? You're not reading newspapers. You're not watching TV. Like, what is it with you? and he got angry. And my dad is like an amazing, like he's projecting the collective things so well onto me. And I said to him, well, you are my newspaper. I come here every Sunday and then I know what's going on in the world. Like, you tell me all the sports news. Like, you
Yeah.
tell me what's going on with Corona. You tell me what's going, like, how dangerous it is. You tell me what's going on in the world with the problems of the world. Like, why should I read a newspaper? Like, what does it do for me? Like, I'm trying to build an empire here. I need my energy for that. So you have a certain amount of energy there, and then you can only have that amount of energy. So I can either invest it in LI Vision and make and bring like my job there. I do that well, or I diverse my energy and get into newspapers and fear patterns and whatever there's broadcasted at the moment. But I don't have the time for that. And he looked at me. He has this very funny way of looking at me, like when he's like understanding me, but he doesn't agree. Then he's like, he's like funny sounds, and then he's ignoring it and he just watched TV again.
Mm, got him. You know, while you were speaking, something beautiful came in, and I think it's been shared quite a few times. But when you truly understand that you can't find the solution when you're in the vibration of the problem, then you're able to really come up with solutions to problems. Then problems are no longer quote unquote problems, but opportunities. The obstacles turn opportunity. And when you allow yourself to leave the vibration of the problem or even the question, then the solution can arise. We need to do that with our world.
Yeah, that would be lovely.
Yeah, absolutely. Seeing the collective just all stepping out when an obstacle or opportunity arises, everyone just at the same time just collectively takes a step back and just embracing the here-ness and just kind of releasing that vibration of that and being able to just be present with it with each other, with anything.
I
There's
love.
very powerful information there.
Yeah, that would request us to have no patternings in the physical bodies anymore. Then it would be possible, and it will be very soon. I think there is a huge amount of people now being like freed of those patterns in the body that react on that.
Hmm.
So, you know, it's very interesting. It's
It's
also,
funny.
oh, yeah.
There's not that many people. If you look at the global scale, there is not that many people who are awakening in a sense.
They're not a lot needed.
I know, but when you really look at the scale, there's 8 billion people on the planet, right? Give or take. And we'll say maybe 1.5 million to 2 million are really clearing
Maybe
up the
more.
gunk
Maybe more. We
on a
can
low ball scale. Still, that power of that 1.2 to 2 million people can generate the whole 8 billion.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. Yeah, absolutely. I
And
totally.
then some. Yeah.
And it's like it you know, before you were speaking about fear. And I know at the moment I'm seeing that everywhere in the spiritual community that they're saying like, oh yeah, your fear is just a fear of the future. And what else do they say? Your triggers are trauma from the past. No, your depression is trauma from the past. And so if you don't do both, then you're good to go in the now. And that is true on a mental level. But on a physical level, it's not. The physical body is vibrating fear constantly, and not even without the mental projection.
So let me ask you a question.
Yes.
If that's true, and you understand yourself as the mind, right? You haven't been able to generate enough space from the identity of mind, right?
Yes.
So you're vibrating this energy of fear
Yes.
within the body.
Yes.
So the body's reacting to the identity of the mind. And that's why the vibration is remaining in that constant.
Not exactly. The
Because
body.
there's a chemistry component to it as well, that the mind can manipulate the chemistry into those particular situations or give off similar as the experiences that were happening.
Yes, that's true. So the body is holding the vibration of fear,
Mm.
and the mind is okay. I have to do a drawing. Let me try to draw that. So I'm drawing for everyone on the. We have it on YouTube, the video, so you can go there. So this is your consciousness. I draw it like a sun, for those of you that don't know, on the left side of the paper. And then I draw a square. This is your mind. And then I draw the body on the right side. So there is the body, the mind in the middle, and the consciousness on the left side. So your ability to download thought from the infinity is driven by the vibration of your physical body. So if there is fear in your physical body, that it has a direct impact on your mind and your capability to download a vibrational thought quality from infinity. And your consciousness is just giving the light on to understand, to see, to experience the thought pattern and the fear vibration of the mind and the body. Does that make sense?
Mm.
So there is light coming in from here. So you only can see that there is light because, like, when I'm putting my hand here, the light is reflected from my physical body, right? Mm. But the light is there anyway. If you have the reflection point or not, it's there. So that's consciousness manifested in the physical body. And your capability of the download of thought, like what quality of thought are you downloading, and what thought patterns are you engaging with, and what not, has a direct impact on the vibration of your body. And the vibration of your body creates the place where you hold yourself in your subconscious pattern, in your subconscious mind.
So if they're downloading into their mind fear, then it's radiating through the body.
Yes, but if there is no fear in the body, there is no possibility of downloading fear thought patterns. That's what I'm saying. So
the imagination is also a hell of a place as well. You can possibly not have that in your body actually, but the imagination can then put it in the body.
Yeah, no, your imagination cannot put it in the body when you're not having a resonance to it. When there is nothing stored in the body anymore that is vibrating fear, then you cannot even imagine fear. It's not possible. Because that's how it works. Like, that's how the physical body, mental body, consciousness triangle works. Like, oh, how can I explain that better? Well, maybe I don't have to. Maybe that's already enough.
That's a lot of information.
Well, it's a very complicated teaching. For me, it was one of the teachings that I had. It took me very long time to understand the width of the teaching. Like, it's it's because that means that you literally are able to create your reality. And of course, like today, in all the teachers, like they say you just have to bring your mind under control and then you're good to go, right? Or that's one part. Let's have another little mantra: I love myself and I'm blessed and yada yada yada. Like they work on that. And that helps until to a certain extent. And then there are the teachers that are like, you're not the mind and you're not the body, you're the consciousness, which is true. It's your higher self, you are that. And you can like reflect on those two, which is true. Like you can look up, like, that's what you said, like something's coming up and you're just like, a problem is coming up, like a resonance is coming up, and you're just like looking at it like, oh, it arises, very interesting, okay, goodbye.
I just know from an experiential understanding, any fear that ever came up, it was always a fear of something happening. It was always in any
Yeah, but
instance,
why
even
would it come up?
the split fear. It was like what was it? I was driving and I almost hit a rabbit and I felt fear.
Yes.
I was terrified of killing the rabbit. Like, what
Yes.
if I killed the rabbit?
Yes.
And it all happened instantly. And it was the fear of me hurting that animal.
Mm-hmm.
So the fear arose from something that hadn't happened, that didn't exist.
And that's what is
Really.
not true. No, that's what is not true. It just didn't exist in your current mood, in what you consciously understand. Your cells have been on this planet since the beginning of time. The whole thing of the body, nothing is new.
Your experience of the body is new.
No, even that is not new. It's just your relationship that is new for this lifetime, consciously. Subconsciously, it's not.
But what is the subconscious?
The subconscious is the, how can I explain that best? Well, in the yogic teachings, let's go with teachers. In the yogic teachings, the subconscious mind is the mind where all the thought, like every time you blink like this, 1,000 thoughts are downloaded. And you can interpret those 1,000 thoughts within the positive mind or the negative mind. So every time you blink, it's 2,000 thought options. So you need to be very discerning in what type of thoughts that you are interacting with. And the rest of those 2,000 thought options are being downloaded and go into your subconscious landscape. They just hang there. And that's why like we keep repeating ourselves that meditation is so important, because you need to be discerning in what kind of thoughts that you're interacting with, right? So the subconscious is an accumulation of your thoughts that you didn't use. Let's keep it that way. But the quality of the thoughts that you're downloading is directly impacted by the place where you're living in your subconscious landscape. And that is impacted through your body. Like what is held in my body. For you, for a lot of people, it's logical that they're having the nose of their ancestors, but that they're like our DNA, our cells it's for here since forever. Every cell, every of your cell has been a tree before, and a stone, and mine, by the way, as well. Every cell has been a crystal and water and air, and like we all have been. It's nothing new. So the subconscious is the accumulation of your thoughts that you didn't use, and the vibration of the thoughts that you're able to download are directly linked to where you're living in your subconscious landscape, and where your ancestor lived in, and where you, what you want to experience as a soul. And it's a very complicated little thing.
It's very complicated.
Very much so.
It doesn't need to be that complicated. When it becomes experiential.
Mm-hmm. I mean, of course, you can speak about swimming and how it is when your body is in the water and you swim, and how it is to breathe so regularly and what that does for you. But you only know how it is to swim when you get in the water. Nobody, like, nobody can explain you how it feels to be in wet water. Like nobody can. It's impossible.
Oh, is water wet?
Probably. It feels at least like that. So you have to get into the water in order to have the experience of swimming. And that's the same with the spiritual journey. You have to get into the experiential waters of a session, or a healing, or shadow work, or whatever, in order to feel what that does to you. It's not, we cannot explain it. Nobody can.
And are you actually feeling the water, or are you just feeling your sensation of the water?
Well, what you're feeling, oh, no, I'm not explaining that. No, I'm not explaining that. Because then I would teach again. I don't know why it always happens. I can explain you what's happening technically, but nobody needs to know that one. I explain to my clients, I say always, think of your body as being an iCloud, a data cloud. And you have around 7 billion cells in your body. And so you have 7 billion data pieces. And each cell can hold an entire universe of data.
Yeah, it is. Every single one of them.
Every single one of them. There is so much space. So it's fascinating that we are thick, that nobody can like touch through us.
That's why connecting with that the spaciousness and the stillness is so important, because you connect with that same spaciousness within every cell within you. Yes. And when you recognize that, you connect with every single spaciousness within the entire cosmos. And that all happens through the body. The body is a great instrument to communicate with the cosmos, the physicality of it, to be able to pick up the subtle energies, to pick up the massive energies, to pick it all up. It's a huge antenna. But when you're so identified with it, you don't allow it to be the antenna. You get so jumbled up in the I-ness, the individuality.
The I-ness.
Instead of just allowing the information to just pass through, and you're able to utilize it as the tool it's meant to be used for, and embrace it. Now it's like, what was it? I was speaking to somebody, and I said, we take care of our gardens, we take care of our children, we take care of our dogs and our animals, our house plants, we take care of our communities, but we forget to take care of this body. because his body is what's communicating with all of that. I'm not going to say everybody, because obviously there's a lot of people who don't take care of their communities, show that, and so on. But what I'm saying is, if you're so focused on taking care of those, that's a direct reflection of you should also be taking care of this body as well.
Yeah. They're not taking care of their body on purpose. They just cannot feel what there is. It's for them, it's unbearable. The reason why people are not taking care of their body is because they're hurting.
Mm.
Every single one of them. If it's obesity, or if it's like addictions, or if it's um, nutrition issues, or like whatever it is, like
Yeah, I had all three of those.
yeah, and like uh, it's for it's the suffer, like it just shows the suffering of the soul in the body, and of the perception of the eye. It's that. And I'm very compassionate about this suffering, because I see it, like, I'm very sensitive. Like I see, when I walk around, I feel people's bodies, and I feel them, like they're yelling at me to help. So it's very difficult to understand that people don't even know that they're suffering. It's very difficult for me.
It's a blind suffering.
It's completely blind, and it has its reasons. And like in the beginning of my days, of my in my early 20s, I wanted to save everyone. If I could, if I did have the power, I would have wanted to save everyone from their suffering, because I could see it so well. And but there's God gave us the human being one very essential thing, and that's like they say in many teachings. They say this is the only planet and the only place you can incarnate and have free will, exercise free will. So it's a very difficult planet as well, because it's so dual, right? You have to choose as a human. You have to choose between love and fear. You have to choose between health and unhealth. You have to choose between freedom and scarcity. You have to choose between joy and pain. And if you don't choose, you live the vibration that is existing in your physical body already. Then your reality will present itself as what you're vibrating at the moment. That's why transformation is so important. If you don't like what you see outside of you, if you don't like your life with every single bit of it, then you should probably start to transform what you don't like. And there are thousands of different ways. And I'm not saying I'm having the best way. I'm just saying I have one. And I experienced that myself. So I'm a very good role model to, like, the reason why people trust me with their, I was sexually abused over 15 years by my uncle, what is because they trust the vibration, because they feel that I healed myself, and then so they trust you that you can do that. That's what's happening. It's a vibration, right?
Mhm.
So yeah, it's very like, and this free will as a healer, as a therapist, like I think we have a lot of therapists and healers here listening to our podcast. You cannot take the suffering away from the world. Not even Jesus could do that. And he was a powerful dude. Like, nobody can, because it's the planet of free will.
Yeah, I don't see a lot of people having free will, to be honest.
They're not exercising on it. They're not.
When you believe that you're your mind and you're your thought patterns, you're just literally stuck in a loop. You have no free will. The pattern's predicting for you.
Yes, of course not. But I mean, look, you and I, we both were born in the same in the same realm, right?
Mm.
And we just started to do our job because we wanted to do our job because we didn't feel well where we were. And we
I was
were,
forced.
you were what?
I was forced.
Yeah, me too. Of course. But uh, like, you could have given up. You could have killed yourself. It was a possible outcome. I
Mhm.
mean, it was there. The timeline was open.
Yeah.
You could have chosen that. It's you choose. This victim behavior where people say, "Oh, it was not. I was enlightened, and it's not my choice, and I was God gave it to me." Yeah, good for you. But you chose subconsciously. You didn't choose consciously because you don't know shit about your subconscious patterns, but you choose your life. Like everything you do is a choice, and the more you understand that, the more you the more I understand that, I personally, the more I'm in awe of the of the love and of the detailedness of this human incarnation. Like, humans are the most powerful thing. Like, if you are truly human, if you are not like being a robot or like one of those, what are they called, zombies?
Hmm.
You're not zombieing around on planet Earth. Like, if you're truly want to become human, you can do everything you want. There was this little boy, you remember that? Did you see that on TikTok? There was this little 6-year-old boy, and he talked to his mom, and his mom filmed him, and he said, like, can become anything you want to become. You can be president, you can be a model, you can become an actor. Like, he was 6 or 7, maybe, I don't know. And he's right. Like, you can do anything you want by accessing your free will and exercising your, what's the English word for that? And paying the price for the consequences. Everything on planet Earth has a price. And you need to understand that there's a price for certain things. And you have to understand if you're willing to pay the price or not. Like, for example, you want to lose weight. So there's a price for that. You need to go to the gym probably, or you need to exercise in some shape, way, or form. You need to change your nutrition. Because of that, you will experience a lot of self-hatred, and it will be louder than it was ever before, because you never listened to those thought patterns, and then you have to start shadow work because you need to disidentify from what there is in your mind, and you need to disidentify from the body, and it all has a price. And the question is, are you willing to pay the price? Are you willing to do that step by step, every day, little steps, one step at a time? You tip a toe, you do, and then all of a sudden, 5 years later, you look different, you behave different, you have different patterns, you probably have different friends. But there's a price for everything. Enlightenment, people say, oh yeah, I want to be enlightened. Yeah, good for you, but do you understand the price you're paying for that? Like, the price for enlightenment is probably that you won't be with your family anymore, you won't live a normal life, you won't have normal relationships, you're just doing you won't be with your kids, you like, it's a price that you're paying. And there are places on this planet where it's easier. Like, we spoke today, Dennis and I, we spoke today about India. In India, it's easier to do that. You can bring your kids and it's very normal. But for example, in Tibet, it's not. It's like the kids are taken away from their families when they're 3. Their whole incarnation is that. It's just like teachings and learnings and mantras and mudras, and it's the price you're paying for that. And that's where I think that's where most people fall, like, or how do you say, like, they cannot do it because
Mm.
they think they want something, and then they're walking the path step by step, and then they're like, ooh, that price is high. No, I don't want to do that. And then they're stopping. And
You
then
never really know the price.
well, you don't know, but there are healers and teachers that know prices for things because they did it themselves.
Mm.
And then they can tell you, like, okay, like, do you want to pay that or not? Like, I tell my
To a
please.
degree.
Yeah,
To
to
a
a
degree,
degree.
they can
Yeah,
tell.
yeah, to a
Yes.
certain degree. At least I can tell you that it costs something.
Yes.
At least.
I think the good teachers will only go as far as that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because everyone's experience will be different.
Yes.
Someone might pay the price of never seeing their family, and another will pay the price of having to be with the family forever.
Of course. And it's amazing. Like, it's amazing that but if you understand that you can choose that, that's true empowerment. And I'm a big fan of empowerment. I love to be a sovereign human with dignity. That's the fucking price on this planet. Like, that's deep shit coolness.
Yeah, I just like to have fun,
Yeah.
enjoy life. That's it. That's what it's about for me, at least. That's my
Have
fun.
fun. Just
Life is fun. Life is fun, and I'm not separate from life. So, shit, gotta have fun.
yeah.
Get down with it. Have a
Yeah.
little dance
Experience
party.
different things.
Mm. I get to experience me and do different things. Not really experience me, but the creation of the projection of consciousness.
Yeah.
Mm. And it's fun.
Yeah. I like to be joyful as well.
So have fun.
Mhm.
Skip down the road.
Mhm. So true.
But I'll say, if you would have told me that like 8 years ago, just have fun, I'd have looked at you like you're a fucking whack job.
Yeah, because
Oh.
it was not possible then. And I think this is one of the things I find so funny when people are like, okay, what do I have to do to be like to be good? Well, honey, it's lifestyle. There's not, but it you cannot go to a therapist and then all of a sudden you're good to go and then you go back to your life. Like, it's not how it works. Like, you will enjoy your life more and you will have less problems, but it's it's a little bit more complicated than that. But yeah, being joyful is very beautiful. When you're emanating joy, it really helps everyone around you as well. And it helps being with yourself.
With his body, with his mind.
This body, like, I am in awe of the physical body. I'm a big lover of my physical body because what it can do, like, oh my god, I think it's so cool. Like the one who invented that one, oh my god, it's so cool. Like, how
Mm.
can you, like, how could you even think of those things? Like, oh my god, it's like, yeah, it's,
Evolution is amazing.
yeah,
I can't wait to see what we continue to evolve towards. You know,
yeah, me too.
it'll be quite amazing to witness.
Yeah, I think we will have the, like, if we're lucky enough to live long enough. I mean, life is short.
Mm.
Like,
Yeah.
if we're lucky enough to live long enough, I think we will experience a huge, huge shift of humans being just human and become human
That's it.
and something else.
Yeah. That's the biggest thing is embracing the fullness of being a human being.
Yes.
It, it's it. Embrace all of it, because all you know human as is the sensations of the body and the mind, your patterns or whatever. But there's so much more to being human. There's so much more.
Yeah.
There's so much more, and you can experience it through the body and through the mind, and the think about it, the memory, and you're able to at any moment recall something on the stop of a dime. You're able to sit there and imagine. You can imagine a whole world. You can sit there and create and imagine buildings and create art and dance, and this body can flow through rhythms, and all you have to do is be able to allow yourself to match the wave of which that thought process or that vibration and wants to take you down to have that experience. It's life is great.
Amazing. Yes. And if you like, you know, if you're lucky enough to have those positive uh, hormones floating in your body, which is, a lot of people don't. And but if you're lucky enough to have days or moments where you feel this joy and this fun and this happiness without bitterness, just not fun as a coping mechanism, but like true joy, um, you're blessed. Like, I think it's a beautiful exercise, like in the evening, I like to sometimes think back on the day that I have experienced and then think of the moments of joy. Like sometimes, like, for example, when Matt, he's the astrologer that I'm doing also a podcast with, he's so funny. And when he's doing those WhatsApp speaker messages, I don't know how you call them, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Those voicemails, voice
Mm.
messages,
Voice messages.
voice messages. I'm sorry. Yes, voice messages. And he's doing those. And he always calls me honey, and he puts a little honey pot next to it. And I find that so funny. And whenever I'm having a message of him and he's there, hi, honey, it's a certain tone, then I like joy is blasting out of me. Like, I'm like, it's so joyful.
Mm.
And then I'm thinking, like, in the evening when I'm in bed, I'm thinking back on those moments. Or when my business partner Bettina is coming in, and we always hug in the beginning, and she's having this joy emanating, and I see it. I'm like, oh my god, oh yes, it's so cool. Like, we're doing this. Like, I mean, it's crazy shit. We created a company for 100,000 Swiss francs, and we're having our friends working with us, and we're building this thing, and we're just like, we're giving our best. And it's like, it's so joyful to dance upon planet Earth. And also those animals that I'm having, the dogs and the cats. I mean, I'm laughing like 20 times a day about my dogs, like because they're lying some strange way or because they're doing something. Like, and in the evening when I go to bed and I think about those joyful moments and how many these are already. In the beginning, when I was 25 or 30, the joyful moments were much less.
Mm.
They're getting more and more. Like, oh, look who's coming, the Queen Mimi is here. Hi.
You know would be a great question to ask as well is, how many times do I experience joy when I'm completely alone
Oh
and
yeah,
there's
I love.
nothing else?
Oh yes, I have that all the time. Hi.
That's it right there. That's
Yeah.
the game changer. If you can sit and be alone and be joyful.
Oh yes. It's, for me, to be very honest with you, it's even easier to be joyful when I'm alone
Mm.
than to be joyful around people.
Ah, for me, it's like the same.
Yeah.
Like
But
I'm very joyful alone.
yeah,
And then when I'm with people, like internally, and it's so strange.
it's the
Like
nervous system.
it's so strange. It's like I feel their tenseness, but it makes me giggle.
Yeah. No,
It's like they're trying to control their nervous system through
yeah.
their muscle tension, and that's not going to work. They're trying to force their nervous system through muscle tension, and it's actually the relaxed state that you allow the nervous system to do what it needs to do. And
Yeah.
it's like it makes me chuckle. I find a lot of times of joy with people, and I spent so much time alone that the joy alone just became the new norm. But then I started venturing out to experience with people, and the joy is still there. So I was like, okay, well, I wasn't just fucking lying to myself, you know? The joy is still there.
Yeah. I I think I experience it. I am very joyful when I'm on my own because I can be much easier. I can live my creative energy much easier because because I'm very sensitive and because I always see what everybody's highest destiny would look like.
Mm,
Like their highest destiny, they're yelling at me. They're like, you just have to do this and this and that, and then you're on the path. You know, that's what I owe. That's my talent, to see people's purpose, to and to see what they have to do in order to get there. Like I could draw for everyone a map, like of the stages of what they have to do, and then they would do that, and then they would end up there. They never do it because of their subconscious belief systems, but that's what I see when I'm with people. So for me, it's very difficult to be with people and having
mm,
all those informations, and then um not being able to talk about it because it's free will, so they have to ask for it. So I'm with people and having constant all time all this information coming in, and so then it's very difficult to stay in my own creative force for me.
mm,
And I like the suffering is yelling at me all the time, like, so for me, the one of the biggest learnings I had in the past 10 years, I would say, was to learn how to what's the English word, to not interact with what's yelling at me all the time. Maybe that.
spaciousness.
Yeah. Yes, but probably you could say that. Yeah, like to you know, for a long time it felt very egoistic to
Mm,
to um just live me and not
that's a
look,
trap.
yeah, and not look for everyone else. And so I used to do that for a very long time, to have to put me away and then have everyone else's happiness and growth in my mind. And so for me it was so much easier to be joyful, like when I'm alone. Then I can listen to, like, I love to listen to music. Music is I used to play, like, I started playing the piano when I was 6. So I played the piano all my life. So when I'm like relaxing, I play the piano or I listen to piano music in my house very loud. I love loud music because then my mind is distracted. And then I love to just follow my creations. I love to be creative. It's my favorite thing to do. Then I dance in the house and I do art. I create a lot of art. I write. I write poems. I do yoga. Like, I love to just be in flow. It's a very feminine energy, but um, that is very seldom the case because of the space I'm holding for Ally Vision. The My job is to do that. So it's like a constant battle at the moment of my feminine essence that wants to really like just relax and lay down and let the creative flow come through me. And that timeline that I agreed on with building an empire. It's a conundrum. Classical. Yeah, so interesting, no?
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Very, very interesting.
But I think the humans are actually much better in groups.
How they communicate.
Yeah. But there, who said that? Who's the teacher that says it? Like when the ability to be alone lets you be like connected to everything again.
I don't know.
I
I just
think it was
experienced it.
I think it was Mahatma Gandhi, if I'm not mistaken, but I'm not 100% sure.
I think they all say it in their own way.
Yeah, they do, probably. Yeah. Yeah. I would love to have someone do a library of all big teachers and their teachings about certain things. Like, let's say you would have this library, and then it would be loneliness, and then you would have like all the teaching from 200 of the greatest teacher about loneliness or about love, and you could like see, and you would find the pattern. You would find every time. You could even start with the Bible, the Quran, the Buddhist teachings, the Indian teachings, the Jewish teachings. They have so amazing. And then all the mystic teachers, and you would see that they all teach like about the same things. They teach the same narrative. It's I
So
analyze.
there's this very beautiful thing about teachers is that when you become a teacher or a guru, or you're on that path, is the teachers that came before you.
Yeah, the lineage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then your unique expression starts to blossom.
Yeah.
And there's no stepping on the teachers that came before you.
No.
There's such a respect there.
Yes.
And the way that's unique for this piece of life to express it is really going to be the forefront then. Then that's the expression, the blossoming unity.
Yeah. In Kundalini yoga, the teachers say they want you to be 10 times better than they were themselves. Every teacher wants that for his students. 10 times better.
I want people to forget me.
Yeah, that's the best. Imagine. Yeah.
Become so transformed, you just completely forget me. And I'm okay with that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Just forget me.
forgive or forget?
Forget.
Could be
Forget.
both. Could be both. Yeah. That was a beautiful talk.
Yeah, it was. I hope you all have a beautiful week.
Oh, yes, do. And maybe you can write us your joyful moments.
Yes,
That.
absolutely. And I really enjoyed this conversation with you, Nicole. It was amazing.
Me too. It was beautiful.
Yes.
Okay, you guys have an amazing week and see you next week. And you're amazing and we love you and everything is good. Okay, bye.
Mwah.
Okay, bye.